And for those that are just tuning in, let me just give a short little recap. You just launched your third book this week on Tuesday, and it's already been in the Telegraph, big issue. Patrick Gale featured it in the Daily Mail. It was in Good Housekeeping, 5 books, Guild for a Dragon. And that's just a short list. And so much more is coming. Eleanor, I am just thrilled. I've got my copy, and it actually came on pub day. So that was
well done, Elisa.
Perks of getting in on the early side. So for those that are tuning in, this is Eleanor's extraordinary book. This is just the beginning of a really, really long ride, really long, exciting ride. So tell me, how's it been? How are you?
Well, I remember, thank you for that. I remember talking to you, I think it was on your pub day. Mm-hmm. And I remember kind of expecting you to feel like I feel right now. But you were like, it felt to me like you were, no, I've got you, like you were really able to kind of regulate and measure yourself through it. And you were like, no, it's okay. And you had regular rest times, and you were just like really like self-care sailing through it, which was kind of brilliant, really brilliant. And I just feel like I'm just like,
are you sleeping? Are you, I know you went out dancing.
Yeah, I went out dancing, not last night. I did wake up very early this morning, just completely overexcited. I mean, I kind of feel like writers spend 400 years below ground in the dark. And then once in a blue moon, you pop up into some amazing sunshine and storms, and all the elements are coming at you. And it's kind of thrilling. Like, and then also there's a bit of me that's like, underground. So it's a real mix. But I mean, I love it. And then the amount of attention you get over a short, it's just like this very intense bit, isn't it? Where you just get super loads of attention. And that's just learning how to be like, because I'm starting sentences and not finishing them, obviously. But I know I've read often from really seasoned writers. You know, you don't buy into the highs and you don't buy into the lows. It's all just, and so that's the thing, because I find, you can get totally like, woo, like really rising wild. And then there's a constant voice in my head saying, slow down, calm down, feel your feet beneath you. Mm-hmm. So that's a very long way around of saying, I'm doing really good, and all the bits that I've learned around that I am employing, just like be cool.
And I think it's okay to just be like not sleeping and thrilled and buzzing and without your like just let it take you. And the thing is, I mean, this is an extraordinary book, but you're also part of the zeitgeist. Like, I feel like you're also creating a movement with this book. So that's why I say this is just the beginning, because I can feel the excitement of this story that's just rising up. So I don't know. You might have to, instead of getting your feet on the ground, you might just have to get a pair of wings, because
like,
I think
exactly, just grow wings. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole mixture there, isn't there? Because just as an ambitious author who works just as hard as every other author out there, and we all want our books to do really well, there's that bit that's like, oh my God, is this the one? Right? So there's that bit. Mm-hmm. And then there's also the content of it, which I think, in all honesty, I care more about. That's the bit that makes me cry. Like, because I started writing this book just like, I'm a fiction writer, I'm a novelist. This was an incredible, there was a wealth of stories. I could have gone anywhere with it. And so I just wrote. But what's happened since I began to realize that Greenham has been absolutely sunk beneath the waves, it has become a mission for me now. I am more outraged every day the more I talk about it, and the more people I meet who've never heard of it.
Yeah.
And then I start telling them. I mean, I spoke to somebody this morning who was, I don't know, maybe she was 30 or something. Never heard of it. And so it's become it has become bigger than the book. And that's why my speech, somebody said to me last night, wow, what I really loved about your speech was it wasn't really about your book, it was about Greenham. And that hadn't even crossed my mind, because I really care about Greenham being remembered, elevated, and used as a blueprint. And yeah, it's hit the zeitgeist on that level. It is 100% hit the zeitgeist. So if that means that this book is part of a movement and an action which elevates that remembering of what we can do together as a collective, then I am super, super proud to have fallen onto that moment. Like,
Oh,
you know.
I mean, you were the one. I always, go back to like Elizabeth Gilbert. It's like there are these bubbles of information or these entities out in the ether, and they are selecting creatives to tell their stories, and you were chosen. And you did it well. You did it just perfectly. And
Okay.
I want to know, what's it been like to meet with these women? I know you had some of you meet at your launch party the other
I
night.
did.
Freedom.
Yeah.
What were those conversations like?
Well, what was so beautiful was that, yeah, two Greenham women came, that when I asked them to come up to the front, before I even began the speech, there was a real cheer. There was a real feeling in the room. It's really important, I find, to constantly remember one of the lessons of Greenham is that it's easy to think you know what an activist looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Greenham women and now you know what an activist looks like. They look like me, like you, like your granny, like the woman working the till, and so on. That's why the motto of Greenham is Greenham women are everywhere, because they're everywhere.
Wow.
And then to have Jill in the room and Maggie in the room, after I'd finished the speech, so many people were queuing up to speak to them,
Mm,
which was just as it should be.
yeah.
And then Maggie, I think it was Maggie, said to me, she was kind of shocked. She said, I've never been celebrated. I've never had that before. I've never, she was like, it was beautiful because she totally took it. It wasn't like she was going, oh, no, I didn't do anything. She was totally like, yeah, I did. I was part of this 19-year, like, world changing movement. So she totally took it, but she was just really, it was the first time it had ever happened to her that anyone had celebrated her as a representative and a member of Greenham Common. So that was just
That's so
complete.
cool.
It's so cool. And again, it just brings it home again. Like, my God, these women, what they did. I met someone else last night who told me that he remembers being at school, in primary school. And there was a period of time, mostly during the 80s, really, which is, the early 80s when Fallout is set, when at school, when the bell rang and it was over and the playground normally filled with mothers, there were no mothers there. And all the mothers
Oh,
were at Greenham.
because
Isn't
it
that
was
like,
30,000 that showed up on that first
well,
day.
for that first day, I mean, I almost cried. Like, when I practiced that speech a lot, and I've never got through it without crying. And there's for me, that moment, and it makes me want to cry now. And I don't know why I'm so moved by it, but
Yeah.
they were just handing out leaflets at the bus stop, and 30,000 women turned up in winter, December the 12th. It was raining from all over the UK. It never ceases to blow my mind. And thousands stayed. And of course, there was a moving number. No one's quite sure how many women were at Greenham at any one time. There were 9 gates, so there were 9 camps. It's funny, the number 9 is like, it was 19 years, it's a 9-mile perimeter fence. There were 9 gates and there were 9 camps. And there's lots of other, it struck me the other day as I was looking at the stats. And at each of the camps, there would have been somewhere between, I would say, 30 to 500 people at each camp, depending on the weather and the time of year and the movement of people and whether it was the school holidays or not, and all those kind of things. So, do the math. So it's like over that time. And of course, now I get more and more messages from people saying, I was at Greenham, my mum was at Greenham, I at Greenham, so they're just like popping up everywhere. Yeah,
Wow.
it's amazing. Yeah. So to
So
celebrate those women was like cool.
tell me, what do you think? I mean, of course, it was a diversity of inspiration that brought all 30,000 of those women there on that first day, and then so many that stayed and continued on for those 19 years. What do you think was the driving force that brought them? Because right now, we had our Women's March in the United States, and we've had other gatherings that bring people out, but what was it that, like, I mean, that's a huge
It's a
turnout.
huge number. I mean, nobody saw that coming. Well, I can tell you, as far as I really understand it, what the driver was, and I've just taken it upstairs actually, because I'm going to bring it to New York. But there was a pamphlet put out by the British government called "Protect and Survive," and it was a 15-page pamphlet with sweet little black and white drawings of people hiding under mattresses, what to do in the event of a nuclear war when you've got 4-minute warning, how to build a fallout shelter. And it was such an insult.
Wow.
On every level, it was an insult. How the audacity of a government to think, I know what we'll do. It's perfectly all right. We'll make a pamphlet, we'll distribute it out, we'll send it to every household, and then everybody will feel fine. And of course, what actually happened was that thousands and thousands of women, mothers, grandmothers, daughters, sisters, and I should think an enormous amount of men as well, saw this. But it was the 4 women in Glamorgan who began the actual protest camp, saw that pamphlet and just thought, how dare you? How dare you? Because I remember in the 80s, I remember the fear of nuclear war. I remember listening to Sting singing about it. I remember marching up and down
Mhm.
the dining room in my mum's house, being very, very clear that at any minute we were going to die in a nuclear war. So it was really present and it was really vibrant. So then for an adult to receive that, an insult to our intelligence and also a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do when you get, it said you had to build a fallout. That's why the novel's called Fallout. One of the reasons, because Ray, Bridget's father, is building a fallout shelter. And the pamphlet said you had to build a fallout shelter in your home where you would live for 4 days. And around it had to be a safe house, as it were, and then your house. So the supposition is that you live in a house big enough for a start to do any of that stuff. So
Mm.
that's insulting,
Yeah.
And I remember reading somewhere, what do people do? Sending off, what do we do? I live in a caravan. What do I do?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you better just lie in a ditch.
Oh,
That was what they were. So it was that. It was the sheer outrage at the audacity of a government and the insult that they thought that was okay. So it backfired on them really horribly because
yeah.
suddenly it brought it up into the
So I feel like I love
collective
it.
conscience.
Outrage and fear. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
outrage and fear. And I've heard you talk before about all of your writing starts with rage in a way.
Yeah.
Am I right? Like
Yeah,
there's
you're
some part
totally
of you that's like,
right.
"Ugh."
Raw. Yeah, it's true. It really
But what I
does.
love about,
Vengeance often.
yeah, what I
Yeah.
love what that you did with Fallout is, so you've got these really raw emotions of fear and rage at sort of the living at the foundation, but then you take, so there's the global annihilation fear and rage around how that was handled, but then you take that into the domestic situation and you've got this
Mm.
household, this family where there's also fear and rage and family secrets. And then you take it into the even further into the daughter, into Bridget and her internalized version of fear and rage. I love seeing how that the macrocosm and the microcosm of these really potent emotions and how they're living themselves out. It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Yeah.
my question is, so Bridget, the main character, so do you
Mm.
feel when you wrote her, this act of rebellion, I'm going to go move towards something different because this household, this family is fucked and I
Yeah.
want something different. Do you feel like she
Yeah.
was trying to escape her own fear and rage, or do you think she was actually trying to like move towards a different relationship with it?
Well, one of the things I like about Bridget, the early Bridget, I like all of Bridget actually, but that early
Mhm.
Bridget was, and as a writer, was being able to explore and write a character who is completely unconscious. So she's in reaction all the time, but she's totally unconscious of what she's reacting against in real terms. So in her head, father's embarrassing, mother's an idiot, and that's what she's reacting against. School is boring. Do you know what I mean? But actually, what she's reacting again is the suffocation of the secret that's held at the center of her family, that is played out in her father's obsession with building a fallout shelter. That's his expression of not letting the secret out, really, on an unconscious level. That's what he's doing. And so on an unconscious level, she is reading that too. And that, for me, that is what's happening to humans all the time. You and I are talking right now, and it just so happens that our atoms are saying the same things as our mouths, and so we're able to be present, wholly present with each other in this space. But if my unconscious and my atoms were telling a different story, in England we say, if you're not Brighton Rock, if you're not the same all the way through. So if my atoms and my subconscious, I've got secrets, and the words coming out of my mouth are not what in a sense, my body is telling you, everything starts to get, as we've all experienced it, it starts to get a bit weird. And so that's really what Bridget is experiencing, like millions of us across the country in our childhood, in homes, when, I want to say especially in the 80s, but maybe it's prevalent now, where, right, where you're living a lie, and you know it. You know there's a lie, you know there's a dishonesty somewhere, but you have no idea what it is. And some of us are conscious enough to say, I know there's a lie, but I don't know what it is. And Bridget isn't even as conscious as that. That language means nothing to her. So she's just living out a classic teenage response, hanging on to the language that is a shared language. My mum is embarrassing and my dad's boring. Everybody can. So that's what she hangs her hat on. So she's running away. Consciously, she's running away from that. Subconsciously, she's running away from there's a lie there, and she knows it. And then running towards, I think again, subconsciously, she knows that her house is suffocating because lies are suffocating. Mm-hmm. And she knows out there somewhere there's something, which I think is why, the only place she's comfortable is the art room. Mm-hmm. With Annabelle, with her teacher, Miss Jenkins, because again, somehow there's more oxygen in that space.
More permission.
And permission, exactly. Although, again, she doesn't consciously know that Miss Jenkins is giving, by her being who she is giving Bridget permission to be who she is. So there's layers going on even at that level in terms of their decision-making process. But I mean, when she arrives at Greenham, her reaction is so instant that it tells the story of what she actually knew she was going to find there.
Yeah. And it just explodes there. I relate.
It explodes it.
I relate so much to Bridget in that incongruency. There's where the knows something's off, but the narrative is not relating to that or resonating with what that feeling is. And so I think there's two different ways that teenagers deal with that. One where they go, you guys are fucked up and I'm out.
I'm out of here.
Or where what I did, which is I must be the one that's fucked up because everybody out here says it's okay. And so I really admired the way that you took Bridget, even in that unconscious place, and put her in this lap of fierce, wild, truth, honest abundance. I mean, so many different kinds of women. And you didn't paint it as like picture perfect either. And I'm curious, when you when you did all your research for this book, of course, there were still tensions inside that emerged, like race and class and ideology. So was that part of the research that you found, where there were some tensions inside the camps too?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, it was predominantly white. I think it was a pretty fair mix of working class and middle class, but some gates, like Main Gate, was predominantly middle class white women. Blue Gate was predominantly working class white women, which is why I took those two gates. And there was huge tensions between those. You know, there's a scene in the book when the women of Blue Gate are saying, like, how come you're allowed white wine and we're not allowed a spliff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So yeah, prejudice was playing itself out everywhere. And then in terms of race, um, you know, there were very, very few, certainly in the early years, very few black women at Greenham. And the black woman Dawn in the book, she explains to Bridget, who is completely unaware of even these conversations, really. She says, and this I took this verbatim from Sue Sayer, Greenham woman. She said, the reason why the black women aren't here is because, you know, this isn't the first time we felt the boot of the state. Like, we've been dealing with this for centuries. Whereas you middle class white women, you think, you know, you've been living your lives. You think you've been making your decisions, but you've just had the tide with you. And this is the first time that you've gone, I don't like that. And now you see what we've put up with for thousands of years. So frankly, we don't have time. It's not like this is any new, you know. So that, and for me, when I remember talking to Sue about it, I was like, okay, right. No, I get that. And I was talking to Angie Brown about this, about equity in protest. And it's a huge subject that is, you know, there's no right and wrong answer to it in terms of you can't reach a resolution with it, like how to hold protests that will definitely be equitable right across the board, because there's a million different factors. But even just having that conversation around it, not making those assumptions, which certainly, I mean, we do it all the time with the suffragettes. Relentlessly, someone will say, yeah, you know, in 19, whatever it was, 20, women got the vote. Well, that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Some women got the vote. That's what
Mm-hmm.
happened. And to just say women got the vote is a classic version of just not really understanding the details of protest and equity and inequity.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fascinating talking to Dawn. Yeah,
You
about it.
have these women, have there been other gatherings for them since after the 19 years? And now it's turning into a park. Is that correct? This
Oh, it's
place?
been it was reclaimed. So the fence was taken down. The reason why it's 19 years was in 2000. That was when the fence was finally removed. So different things left at different times. The cruise missiles, the nuclear warheads, they were removed, I think, in 90. I want to say 93, 94, over a certain couple of years. But it took another 5 or 6 years for the fence to come down and the land to be reclaimed and being returned to what it always was, which is a common land. In England, we have what's known as common land, and it's literally what it sounds like it is. Nobody owns it. So Greenham Common was like, and, you know, originally you were allowed to, you know, you could graze your sheep there and your horses there. And that was the whole point of it. And so for the government to come and just fence it
Yeah.
and take it and then put bombs there was like, no. So that was the two things that the women were fighting for: remove the bombs and reclaim the land. So yeah, it's there, but the silos are still there. They haven't been dismantled.
Oh, is
And the
that right?
fences are still up around them. You can't get in unless you're shooting Star Wars, in which case you
Oh,
can get a license. Seriously, you can go
oh,
in and
because
shoot.
I've had this vision of you and the women gathering there for some event. Like but
Yeah.
it's not something that you can just, it's not like a
No.
public park.
Not on the silos. You can go into Greenham itself, yeah, and you can be there, and the runway is still there, and the watchtower is still there, and some of the old mess halls, the American mess halls, are still
Mhm.
there, which are now cafes and motorbike shops and all that kind of stuff. So you can totally go there. There's a very sad little peace garden that was
Mhm.
made, and a little sign put up to commemorate the one woman who was killed at Greenham. But I mean, it's again, it's a tragic little sort of nod at something that deserves so much more. But there
Yeah.
are lots and lots of at the moment in Aldermaston. So Aldermaston is a march away from Newbury, from Greenham, and on the second weekend of every month there is a protest camp there right now.
Oh, wow.
because Aldermaston is where they do the nuclear bomb research, so
Uh-huh.
atomic warfare research. So that camp, Aldermaston was there in 1958. That was the one that my mother marched to.
Is that
So
right?
so that's still so that anybody in the UK, I shall be going every second weekend. There is a protest. There's a continual camp there, and there's a protest there, and
Yeah, you should
so
go
you
and
can go.
hand out books there too.
I'm gonna go there and hand out books. Obviously, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
Eleanor, I wanted to get a little personal too, because I mean, we could talk about Greenham this
Man.
whole time because it's just fascinating.
Mm.
And I think there's some film rights probably being discussed for this, correct?
Little nudges. We've
Okay.
had some nudges. We've had some little. You never
Yeah.
know.
I'm already, it was funny. I was telling my husband, I'm like, I would cast Elle Fanning as Bridget, but then I was like, wait, she's not a kid anymore. Like the young Elle
Yeah,
Fanning, when she was young, I would cast Elle Fanning, but now I'm like, no, it has to be someone that's, I don't even know. Who would you
yeah.
cast?
She's got to be 15. I don't know. I just there'll be some brilliant 15-year-old out there who
Yeah.
isn't all Hollywooded to the hilt. You know what I mean? That just like
Mhm.
who's really just on it. So I don't know. I think they'd have to find someone totally fresh for Bridget.
Fresh. I like,
Um, but the other characters, yeah, I'm always going through it in my mind. So we'll see. Anyway, I mean, I've got friends in the movie business, and you know all about it too. And
yeah.
I just, you don't, nothing's sure until the red carpet,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So like,
I
but
know,
we
but
can say our prayers.
I don't know. This is just a home run. I just feel it whenever I think about it, Eleanor. So that's what I want to talk about because
Yeah.
I think like 6 months ago, I got a DM from you and you're like, Kimberly, how do I, like, I'm freaking out. Like, this is just, and you've been through this process before with your other books and the fear and the doubt, self-doubt.
Yeah.
Tell me for you and all the writers that are listening, tell me a little bit about how that's evolved for you now that you're in that moment of like, this is successful. And it's just the beginning. So what's that been like for you to feel the transformation?
I'm still racked with doubt. Oh, that
Mhm.
doesn't go away for me at all. Because, so just taking out all the content now, that just as a writer and my ambition, I constantly strive to be the absolute best I can be and hit the high notes that I am capable of, which will be, in that sense, I read The Safekeep just now, which won the Women's Prize last year. And, that's hitting high notes that I'm like, God, I wonder if I could hit those high notes, or Alexis Wright, who wrote Praiseworthy, is beyond me. Doesn't matter how good I get, I will never be that. And that's, I'm fine with it because I know, like, if I really try, I'm kind of aware of the high note I could hit. So
Mhm.
so in terms of just like create, like, as a piece of art. So I have like, my question is always, have I hit the high notes? Have I done it? Is it okay? Because I wrote the original, even though I edited it with Molly, like last summer, I think we were just doing spot edits,
Yeah.
so I wrote it. The last time I actually could have read it and wrote it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. And
Yeah.
so that's my like, shit, is it good enough? Did it hit the high notes? Is it okay? That's
Uh,
the bit always. And
mhm.
I don't know whether that's healthy doubt, realistic doubt, annoying doubt, but and I'm always thinking the next one, and I'm going to do it on the next one. Right. It's just like, I'll
Yeah.
get it next time, and I always feel that. So maybe that's a kind of mixture of, just really wanting to be as good as I can be.
Yeah.
I
Are you
really want to
able
like
to
be as good as that.
Are you able to hold so our lovely friend Chloe, one of the pieces she wrote a few months ago was about how love can hold the contradiction. And it's
Yeah.
probably the only quality that can hold the contradiction. So
Yeah.
when you're like, oh, I have the doubt, can you in that same moment, it's not about the future of like, well, maybe the next one will be that, but can you in the same moment go, is this it? And do I have that? And then also go, fuck yeah, this is it. Like, are you like it? Because I don't know. I'm starting to just really, really live into that space myself, where just
Mm.
two completely oppositional things can live at the same time. And
Yeah, I mean, that's a brilliant question, because it is really it's the central spine and point and place to sit when applying it to absolutely anything,
mhm,
right? For me. And that's, yeah, Chloe and I have talked about that before. This, this place to sit where all belongs,
yeah.
as really the only response to have that allows for what Tara Brach would call wise hope,
Mhm,
because it allows for the potential of all possibilities to
mhm,
sit in that place where all belongs. Like, and it feels so counterintuitive to say the war belongs, or my doubt belongs, or all of these things. But I know now from practicing it that when I say my doubt belongs, so I sit with it and with the majesty of life all at the same time, it allows for that doubt to just relax. And then if it's going to change, it can. Because we all know, like if I push my hand against this table, if I resist,
yeah.
what happens is the table pushes into me even harder. Like everything gets harder. Whereas if I just,
Any finger trap.
exactly. Whereas if you just relax, then if it wants to change, it's going to change. And if it doesn't, it's not. And there's nothing you can do about it anyway. So to bring it to the micro, to the very personal, yeah, like that doubt, that response to the doubt, and also the holy fuck, this is amazing, it's happening.
Yeah.
And the believing that, like allowing myself to
Leaving.
believe, wow, is this it?
Yeah.
Because I am ambitious and I have wanted this all my life. I
I
mean, no kidding. I really
know.
like,
That's
I
oh,
really have.
and
Like,
you have not sat back eating bonbons waiting for it to I mean, you have just
no. I have gone at it. Yeah, no, it's true. I have gone at it. And again, that balance of like really going for what I want and at the same time being completely okay with the fact that I have no control over that, over outcomes at all.
I know.
So yeah, that's the dance. But I think the place I fall down the most is just the like every like you just now our friends just saying just enjoy it, this is
Yeah.
amazing, enjoy it.
It
And I'll
is.
tell you something else funny the other day, because I've moved to I'm mostly in London now, I'm back at the farm. I'm 55 years old and I've always been aware that this 55 to 85 it's empress, right? And at 85 you kind of you turn another corner, and I've been walking down the street and this voice in my head says these are the best 30 years of your life. These
Mhm.
30 years are going to be the absolute bomb. Really enjoy them. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. So yeah, I've got it all
Yeah.
going on.
All the women 55 to 85 listening, like,
Yeah.
feel that, and that's what I love so much about Empress. I love that Empress is
Mm,
starting its own movement, and Lisa Kennedy Jones and Heather are creating
yeah.
this movement for women to not only do it themselves, but to be held in it with others that
Yeah.
are I'm gonna say 50 because I'm 51,
Yeah,
so let's move it.
50. Let's move it down. Yeah, it's 50. It's 50. It is. It's that bit because, well, you know, I said in my bit of my thanks speech last night, this is what happens when midlife women hire each other.
Yeah.
And that's the motto of Empress. That I remember talking to Elisa when she was in, I'm sure you did too, really early days of starting the
Oh,
house. And, you know, and that was the absolute spine.
yep.
We hire each other.
Yeah. And so I don't know if do you read Sam Baker? Are you following her?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she just
Yeah.
wrote a piece about how women are totally over romantasy and they're wanting horror. And whether it's film or novels or whatever, like the
Wow.
whole like this is a movement. And I
Wow.
love she talked about how the people pleaser hormone is over. Like there's something
Yeah.
that happens at 50 and beyond where suddenly there's a rage that's coming up. And there's this great picture photograph that is Jessie Buckley in one of these recent horror films.
Yeah.
She's just like, "Ah!" screaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And rage is it can be such a healthy energy,
Yeah.
and I feel like when especially when it's collective, when women
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's maybe collective male rage. Let's not get too into gender, but let's just talk about rage itself can be very healthy.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
what I feel like you portrayed in Fallout, and it certainly like was. I'm imagining a lot of these women came from situations and environments where there was personal rage, not just
Yeah.
collective rage. And then this became a place for them to hold it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That was, I think, what grew Greenham beyond it being the bombs and reclaim the land, was it became a place of sanctuary. Yeah, where women could be themselves, which meant be full of rage. And nobody was saying, that's enough rage now, dear.
Mhm.
That's enough. Now you know what I mean? Because, you know, if you're not wild at this age, when you wake up, when the hormones drop it down a little and the pleasing hormone drops away, and you wake up and you look at what we have put up with, the system, and this goes for men and women, the system that tells us to be like this and dress like this and talk like this, and that it should make you angry. It is a fucking outrage. And every single midlife woman and midlife man who wakes up and they feel it, and it says exactly the same thing. But I witness often with women, particularly when menopause happens, um, there's often a standard which says, "Oh, let's give you something for that rage,"
Yeah. Yeah.
which is like, no, fuck off. Fucking this, I should, because it's such a fire and it's such a power, and it doesn't mean, of course, we're all dealing with a lot of stuff, but it's a healthy rage. It's a very real, woken up rage. And yeah, I live off it. And actually I'm the happiest, probably the kindest, probably the softest in many ways that I've ever been, because when I was pre-menopause, I had such an armor on me
Mm,
because I was brittle, because it was the only way to deal with that shit. I was
mhm.
fucking hard. I was like, you couldn't get near me. Whereas now, like, nobody can fucking touch me. Do you know what I mean? So I can like be all of that, but it also means I can love in a way that I have
Mm.
never loved, and feel love in a way that I have never felt before.
Wow.
So it's a revolution, and it's a revolution that happens to every single one of us. We all go through it, and we can choose. I mean, obviously, I have to say that in terms of choice, it's resource dependent, of course,
Mm,
and it's environment dependent, of course. But those of us who are fortunate enough to have an opportunity to recognize that rage and use it as a fuel to wake up and break out, the more the system rattles. And this is why we have to hire each other, because those of us then awake, if we are then running the show, we will break that system down.
yeah, and we can model it for one another. We can model it for the
Yeah.
next that are coming up, because it's still not
Yeah.
model. It's still,
It's not modeled.
I mean, we'll see it
No.
maybe in a occasional film here or there, but it's still not.
Not really. Whenever I have the opportunity, if I'm with a young girl, 18, 25, 35, I don't, if it comes up, I will always say to them, menopause is the best thing that can happen to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always. And they're like, really? And I'm like,
What? Oh,
fucking
yeah.
yes. I'm telling you, it's the best thing and then I model that by being how I am now. Like, I'm having a good time.
Yeah. Having a great
And they're like, oh, okay. I don't have to dread it then. No, you don't have to dread it. Look
So
forward
where
to
do
it.
you think I also read just something, I think it was even yesterday, Sophie Strand
Yeah.
is and very much going through her own process of what femininity means and
Yeah.
how masculinity has lived with that, and the contrast between the two. And she went as far as to say, I don't trust men anymore, period.
Okay.
And it was pretty intense. And
Okay.
I don't hear like, yes, we're talking about women, or we're talking about rage and menopause and all of that, but I hear an inclusivity when you're talking, that
Yeah.
this is human. And maybe men don't have menopause, but there is
They have
also,
andropause. They have
yeah,
andropause.
yeah. And that's not talked about either. And so I
No.
want, because of that lovely contradiction that Chloe likes to remind us of, rage and
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
I I wanna believe that the men can come along with us in
Me
this.
too.
And yes, they've done it, the collectively, shit has happened. And our dear friend Shannon, is that her idea is like, "Let's just have all the men fall asleep for 2 years, and we'll
Yeah.
fix everything." And then
Yeah.
then they'll come back.
Yeah.
We don't get rid of them. We'll just fix everything, and then they'll come back and be like, "Great, look at what."
Right.
But I do feel,
Yeah.
why do you think the Greenham women, it was women. Were there ever
Mm.
any that joined, and could they join, or what was that
In the
relationship?
Yeah, I mean, in the first year, so 81, it was just a peace camp and anyone could be there. And then within about 6 to 9 months, so as we get into 1982, the women collectively decided to make it women only, because they realized a couple of things. Men there increases the chances of violence between each other, and also the army and the police. So the police are likely to be more violent if it's male protesters than female protesters. So that was just a very practical reason. And I think also they're aware, as we're all aware, that men have been, and I don't know whether, again, because I'd really try and get away from gender for all these reasons, but so
Mm,
I don't know whether this is their very generalized nature or whether they've been trained to be like this. But generally, if you get a load of men in the room, they'll create a top-down hierarchy of system of running things.
mm,
And therefore, and then it'll become an ideology, and then you've got, the police will come in, and then they can arrest the head, and then the whole thing falls apart. And you cut triangles, don't that's not how it works. And so they knew, again, if they had men there, then the men would kind of not only take over, because it was the 80s and women were just so trained to stand. If a man was in the room, that you stood back and let him talk. So there was also that aspect, that they were conscious of their own conditioning, that they couldn't override their own conditioning. So that was
mhm,
a third reason. Also, they knew the press would hone in and only talk to men if there were men there. And they didn't want that. They wanted their voices talking about it. So lots of kind of practical reasons. None of them were "we hate men"
mm,
or "this is men's fault."
yeah,
As far as I know, anyway. Now there were a lot of women there who hated men and believe it's all men's fault. There's no question, and that was from personal
yeah.
experiences. Get beaten for long enough, and you're just going to say, "I hate men." We could all understand that. But I mean, I really, I sit with this conundrum a lot around, because there is no straight answer. Like, yeah, I get what Shannon's saying. Send them all to sleep. We will fix everything, and this is true in many ways, right? But also, I love men. I think they're brilliant, right? And I absolutely believe they have the capacity and the potential to be as brilliant as us.
Yeah.
They're not right now. They're not. They're not as brilliant as us. And I'm going to say that like super loud and clear. I'm sorry to say it, but they're not. They have not been put to the test in the way that we are put to the test from the day one. We all know girls are treated more harshly. They are expected more of. They have to put up with more physically. We put up with pain from the age of whenever your period starts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are toughened and trained, and more is expected of us conditionally by society. And what that does produce, apart from the fact that, I don't like that difference between us, but it does produce a maturity which we all witness in each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had a photographer here from the Telegraph actually the other day, this really great guy called Heathcliff. Can you imagine? It's called Heathcliff. So cool. And we were chatting away, and he said, men just don't know how to grow up. It was really great hearing this from a guy. He said, "I admit it, we just don't know. We're babies. We don't know how to grow up."
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, that's the thing. Something in the build of our society infantilizes men. It just keeps them in this weird baby adult stage where they are somehow given all the responsibility, but none of the training to be an actual adult. And an adult is somebody who is able to manage their feelings, regulate their systems, see outside of the box, treat everyone fairly, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So, uh,
And not have to really struggle with their
yeah.
ideology and with what they want in their lives and feel it
And
not.
with then, yeah, and with then the human nature to compete, and also with the exterior messages all the time that resources are scarce. We are all being sent the message constantly. Whatever the resource is, it's scarce. So you have to elbow your neighbor out the way and go for it. That's capitalism in a nutshell, right? But or modern day capitalism. But the truth of it is, if we all had the messages that resources were not scarce, then that very natural competitive urge, which we have as animals, wouldn't result in treading on each other to get the final biscuit.
Right.
So, right. And so women, because the stuff we have to put up with all the time, we learn this kind of symbiotic cohesiveness between us that we just understand. We grow up.
Mm.
Whereas men are still in the toddler stage of like, there's 3 biscuits left and I want one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's, for me, that's the problem. It's not men. It's the fact that we have somehow created a society where they are not asked to grow up. And that is a big fucking problem.
That is so well said. It's the system that has
It's the
created that.
system. Yeah, yeah.
System,
They're
not
totally capable of it.
totally capable of it. So,
Yeah.
and maybe if we'd been, a matriarchy for the last 10,000 years, then the men would be the ones that are like, yeah, we've had to push against this and find our way.
It's totally possible. But it echoes out any one of us who's been in a partnership with a man with children. And so this is my
Yeah.
experience. My ex-husband, if he really came to it, if I'd really pushed him to it, he would have been perfectly capable of running the house, once the kids are over the age when like mum is the central pillar, doing all the stuff that I do. But the truth of it was, and I think about 1,000 women are going to cheer as I say this, the fact is, it was just fucking quicker if I did it myself.
Yeah.
Because, and that's why they don't learn.
Oh my God, that's so true.
But then you get someone like Mark Typo, which is why I just adore him.
Mm.
Because there he is. Men make fantastic parents, great fathers,
Yeah.
if asked and if trusted and if assumed they have capacity. Then they have to step up to it, just like he's done.
Boy, that's brilliant. I see a new novel taking shape right now.
Whoa.
Oh, Eleanor. Okay, so you're still in London, but you're headed to New York. I know I'm going to see you next week.
I cannot wait. Am I seeing you in Cambridge or am I just seeing you in New York?
I'm going to see New York, just in New York.
New York. Oh, New York. I cannot wait.
When do you head to Cambridge?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
28th.
Oh. Do you have any more events now on Tuesday or do you get a rest?
No, I get a rest. So
Good.
yeah, I'm going to shut the shutters for over the weekend and just rest. And then I'm at Kim Stockwell's. I don't know if she's here. Can't wait. In Cambridge. That'll be super fun.
Oh my God.
And then I'm with you guys on the 1st. And then we are celebrating you on the 2nd. That's going to be fun. Yeah.
It's going
to be fun.
I think a lot of the offers still yet to be published. The ones that are in pre-order right now are going to be making it to the parties and to the events. And so it's going to be a really, I mean, we've got our own Empress Greenham going on.
Yeah. Yeah, we have. Yeah, and there's a thing that night as well, isn't there? I think we're going to be having fun that night.
Yeah, well, I leave. So I'm flying straight out, actually, right after.
Are you?
So
are you? Okay.
Party, but it's a
You're
long
out
trip.
of there.
I'm out of there.
Okay.
It's a very short 24-hour trip, but
okay.
Thrilled.
And
you're going to be in Times Square.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I'll be doing what you did, which was just so amazing to witness you do. I mean, it was like,
you and Elisa just
that was the best.
Me so I honestly, I didn't think it was gonna. I'm still kind of a Midwesterner, like I don't know, is this a big whatever? It's on the screen, but then
I know when it happened. I know you were like a little girl.
Lisa said something like, you did it, baby, or something like that.
Yeah,
And all
yeah,
of a
yeah.
sudden I was like, whoa, this is
What?
happening.
What? What? I know. And then your dad, they were on the screen. Remember, we were laughing that
Yeah.
maybe he would see it.
Yeah.
That was just like, that
It
would have
was so
been,
dear.
oh my
So I
God.
want to ask, what is the most surprising thing that's happened for you so far this week since the launch? Just one thing that just has felt like, whoa, totally didn't expect that. Whether it's an emotion or something that circumstance.
Well, I can tell you, actually, it was at the launch last night. Was it last night? Yeah, last night, because there was a train strike across the whole of the London tube network.
Oh,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning. So basically, I mean, and when the tube goes, like it is gridlock. All the buses, everything is gridlock. The only really way to get around somewhere is like on a bike. And so I found out by an email on the Tuesday. A friend of mine wrote, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, it's the tube strike. I won't be able to come." And I was like, "What? It's tube
mm.
strike?" Like you plan and plan and plan, and then the TFL had announced it like the week before. Like you couldn't have. And I was like, "Holy fuck!" There's not. I honestly,
Oh,
the ground dropped away. I just went cold. I was just like,
oh,
because I knew I had people coming from all over London, all over the UK. I was just like, shit. So then I did an awful lot of praying. I was praying like, I said, like sending up prayers to Mary Magdalene. I know this is a first world problem, but if there's any way you could just like cancel the tube strike, fuck. And then I had to get Buddhist about it. I was talking to Wendy about it,
yeah,
just like, do you know what? Again, hold the two, like, there's nothing I can do.
yeah.
It's all, I pulled a tarot card and the card was anxiety.
Oh, perfect.
And it said, right now, you need to have faith. And
Mm.
if you have faith, you will be rewarded. I was
Oh,
like, okay.
wow.
So I practiced and practiced and practiced being like, do you know what? In some miraculous way, this is going to be okay.
Mm.
And Thursday arrived and there were people saying, oh, so a few people were canceling. I was like, no, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I got there and actually it was just like my own version of 30,000 women. Like the room, I mean, I don't know what our numbers were. We got to have been like 60 people in a little room. It was
Yeah.
packed.
Wow.
It
Yeah, I
was my
saw on
30,000.
camera
Yeah,
went
yeah.
around and it was packed.
It was packed. It was my 30,000. And loads of people. I felt like afterwards, God, I really have to rewrite my idea of like, thinking that, I mean, I know I'm supported, but I had no idea
Mhm.
that this collective of people would try so hard to get there and succeed.
They found a
It
way.
fucking blew my mind. And I had a load of people say to me, when I heard about the tube strike, I thought, we cannot let her
Oh,
stand there alone. And look, and everybody thought that. So then it
they
was
all
just like,
found a way.
they all found it when people walked, they were on, they just figured it out.
Oh,
It was,
Eleanor.
it completely,
I mean, it
honestly,
couldn't
Kim,
even been better than that then. Like, had it just been like, "Oh, easy, the tube is open, everything's fine, people show up,
no,
that's great." Now you got to feel the
now
the
you've got to
intention,
really, yeah,
love.
you've got to
Oh, that's
really try.
so
It was
brilliant.
phenomenal. And I think because of that, because I was like, it upswelled the atmosphere in the room, the
Yeah.
energy and effort everyone had taken. The atmosphere was just electric. And there were loads of, because basically my thing with launches or parties is just invite everyone. I just
Yeah.
have to, everyone. There's like, even the bad fairy, I invite everyone. I really do. And so they were, because it meant that there were loads of people there who hadn't seen each other for years. So even though it was about the book, it turned into just like
Yeah.
people connecting and having a great time. And I never got to finish a sentence. It was just like hug, hug, hug. Oh my God, it was just like,
It was
it was
your
fucking
own
wild.
it was your own Greenham. I mean, in a
It was
way,
my
it
own
was like
Greenham. It
all
was.
the effort that those women
Yeah,
35,
yeah,
40 ago had to go through to, like, pack
yeah.
their bags, leave home, quit their jobs,
Leave
do
their
whatever.
children. Yeah, yeah.
They all, in their own in this little microscopic way, that's what
Yeah,
people
yeah.
had
That's what
for
people
their
did.
launch.
It literally, that's what happened. It was really,
Oh.
I think, like really life affirming. I mean, at
Yeah.
the moment, everything in my life at the moment is about faith, like really faith in the great workings of the collective
Yeah.
love consciousness, that I am a tiny thread, but it's got me.
Yeah.
It's holding me. It's okay. And that was an example of that. I just had to practice it and practice it and practice it. And hey, presto, it was amazing. So
Oh, yeah.
that, I think that is the most significant thing that's happened. It's
Well,
wild.
and just continue. I mean, heading into New York, heading into Cambridge,
Yeah, I know.
was a lasting experience. I had Eleanor on my tour too. It was, and for me,
Mm,
specifically, like, I've always thought, "Hey, dads, it'd be really cool if you showed up at the end of my bed, like, I'd love to see you." And I really started to feel like, without a doubt, the spirit world, my
yeah,
father showing up and even kinda tinkering around a little bit, like,
yeah,
"Hey, make some weird shit happen," just so that she's
yeah.
not alone in this. And so however you continue feeling held in this extraordinary chapter of your life, I am just, I am there holding you with it.
I
So,
feel it.
mm,
Yeah, I feel it. Thanks, honey.
thank you so much for sharing this. Do you have any last parting words that you want to share just as you launch yourself into, I don't know, other things that people can tune into? I just want to follow you as much as I can.
Well, Greenham Women Everywhere is a website. So if anybody wants to go in and look at the archive of the whole of Greenham Common, that's where all the videos are, all the photographs are, all the interviews are there. Learn more about it. If you're an educationalist, lobby to get it in schools on the curriculum. It should be taught in the history of protest, the history of women, British history. There's so many areas it should be there. So that's really what I care about, is that we elevate Greenham and that protest, that 19-year protest, non-violent direct action. We get it back in the school books, we get it back in universities, and so that there'll be a day when every person under the age of 30 has heard of it, not zero.
Not zero. Yeah.
That's
And
what I
all of
want.
those women are celebrated in small or big.
Yeah, and celebrated.
I
Yeah.
hope that some of them are just receiving your book today and
I hope so, really hope so, yeah.
they're just like, "Oh, that was so."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think to remember that, you know, this is what activists look like. They look like you and me. And there's a million ways to use your voice and stand up for what you believe in and show kindness and say no when something is not right. And whatever your resources are, that is the right way to do it. And that's what they did. And that's why they succeeded.
Mm. And that's why you're succeeding. Mhm. I love you, Eleanor. Thank
I
you.
love
Thank
you
you.
too.
Thank you. I'll see you. I'll give you a big hug in a week with
I
your
can't wait to see you in
purple
a week. The suit is
extraordinary.
coming. The suit is
Awesome.
coming. Yeah, you bet.
All right. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. See you
Loads of
soon.
love. See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.